him with PSK 31, and he was I was telling him what antenna I was using, which was MCOM up in the attic, and he said, "Hey, you're very limited with that." And I asked him, "Well, do you think I could do any better if I took my buddy pole up and set it up for 20 meters on Flagpole Hill?" And he just laughed. He said, "No, that's basically just a dummy load."
Now, you shouldn't let him talk to you that way, telling you that you was a dummy load. Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the antenna.
Well, I'm the load on the other end of the radio with the microphone, and then the antenna does what he was talking about, the load on the output end.
You know what you need to do? Next time he says something like that, tell him that you could stick 2 coaxes in his ear and make it a loop, go from one ear to the other on a 4-foot section of RG8, and then put a end on it and stick it in his ears and see if he can communicate with it.
Well, that would be rude. I'm going to put 2 electrodes on you and tune you up at 1,500 watts, but I wouldn't say that to this fellow. He's a pretty special guy, and back in the day, he had one of those Heathkit 2-meter rigs in his car. I mean, anybody that could do that, I mean, that's a pretty special individual. Kilo Charlie 5 Hotel Zoo Oscar.
W5FC.
AF5TX, yeah. Long time ago, I had a guy that was, he was a million questions, it seemed like, in an hour, and I was doing good to get past the first 200. And I told him, I said, "You want me to tell you if it finds out if it works or not?" And he said, "What's that?" "Go get you about a 4-foot section of RG8, put you some PL259s on it, stick it in each ear, and see if you can communicate that way." You know, he came back to the field day the next day, and he said, "It won't work. I can't get it to do nothing."
Well, I wonder if I'd do any better if I put like a 1,000-foot tall vertical, like Voice of America, and that was 2 of those 500-foot radio towers like WFAA still has in downtown Dallas. They took 2 of those, and one was upside down, the other was right side up, sitting on top of it. I wonder if the HOA would mind if I put something like that out here.
KE5NUB.
Go ahead, Keith.
Well, circling back around to the dummy pole, buddy pole dummy load comment, I have one. I've had one for years. I tend not to use it for that very reason. I just never, no matter how much time I take setting it up, it just doesn't work all that well. I've had some really good luck, though, with one of those stainless steel whips. It's an MFJ. I don't remember the model. But, yeah, just clamping it onto a barbecue grill and, measuring it out for 20 meters and then clamping it on. No radials, just run the coax out at 90 degrees. Works as best as anything I've tried portable. Just something you might want to think about, and if you want to try one before you buy one, let me know, because they're like $50. They're kind of expensive.
Okay, copy that. I might try that. And I'm thinking, I'm just making sure I didn't double the BJ there. So I saw Ray Novak I watch amateur TV, and they had Ray Novak, the ICOM sales guy, on, and I think he was talking about one of those. And I'm wondering if that's it, but it sounded like it was an 8 or 9 band vertical portable antenna. Is that the one you're talking about?
They've got some that are longer than the one I got. I got the one that goes out to it's a little bit longer than what we need for 20 meters. But yeah, it was right at $50 if I remember correctly. It might have been a little bit more. But yeah, they've got some that are bigger. The problem I had with those in my mind was how you gonna mount them? It's because it's got a little screw-in thread on it, you know.
Hey, Robert, you know you could try this. You can get on the internet and buy you one of them Army antennas and then put it on a tripod, put it out in the backyard, because that thing's it's 180 inches long, and you can tune it up with a small tuner and get out there and do what you want to with it.
Well, I tell you what, fellows, let me ask you this. My reading kind of suggests I can't I can't go vertical polarization and propagate 20 meters out more than 80, 100 miles. What do you think? Do you think I could do better than that with a vertical and get up? I'm trying to hit Springfield, Missouri, which is about 400 miles from me.
Well, I know a guy that I talked him into buying one of them antennas off of the internet, and he got a tuner for it, little MFJ tuner for it, and he's talking on an ICOM 706 Mark II-G on 20 meter. Got him one of them 4-foot tripods and put it on a pole, and he's made I think he's made close to about 3,000 contacts off that pole, and he lives in an HOA.
The best luck I've had for hitting the central U.S. on a consistent basis is the brands are irrelevant, but it's a PAR infed for 40, 20, 10, and I think 6. And just having the one end of it at about 11, 12 foot up from one corner of the fence to the other corner of the fence, it goes a little bit higher. And then so it's like from 11 foot to 14 foot off the ground, and it's pretty much straight east, north-south. So running that, I was able to hit a lot of the central U.S. that I'm not able to hit now with the vertical.
Okay, well, we're coming up on Skynet, so we'll probably have to clear the repeater, but could you come back with the name of that antenna?
Oh, there's several of them. PAR, P-H-A-R, I think is how it is. It's just an infed antenna. There's many flavors. They're all the same.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. Well, you know, the experimentation is the fun, so I'm not upset that I'm not contacting this guy, but I sure want to contact him. I'm going to keep trying. Kilo Charlie 5, Hotel Zulu Oscar 73.
And it's all yours, Bill.
Bye for net.
And it's all yours, Bill.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
This is N5BB. Does anyone need to use the repeater before we start Skynet? This is N5BB, November 5 Bravo Bravo. My name is Bill, and I'll be your net control for this session of the Dallas Amateur Radio Club Skynet. This is a weekly net which meets every Saturday night at 9 p.m. local time concerning the subject of astronomy and space in general. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? This is N5BB. This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from your net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to identify at the end of each transmission. This weekly net operates on 146.88 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using a W5FC-R, station ID, or Echolink node 37247. And I am looking at Echolink right now. So if anybody has a comment they would like to make for net control on Echolink, please put it over there and I should see it if I remember to look. Oh, Chaz is already commenting. He's buttering me up. Oh, Chaz, I tell you, flattery will get you nowhere. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts and pictures, and live audio-visual links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur radio operators are welcome. You do not need to be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. Okay, Chaz. The net is 90 minutes long, is structured in several parts. General announcements. Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, National Space Society. Discussion topic of the evening, selected by the net control station, me. Space exploration and space history. What is up? The constellation of the week, or other topic. Space launches of this week and recent astronomical discoveries. Followed, if we have time, by visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, and astronomical Q&A, followed by 73 rounds. All amateurs licensed transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So first, do we have any short-time check-ins to Skynet? If so, please come now. This is N5BB Net Control.
November 5, Whiskey Oscar India, William in Allen, N5WI.
Okay, I recognize one station, N5WOI. Now let's come with any RF check-ins. We will wait till later for Echolink. And I'm going to ignore everything going on over there about Chaz for a while. So do we have any RF check-ins to Skynet? If so, please come now. This is N5BB.
KI5, Kilo India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel. Melissa in Dallas.
This is Alpha Charlie 9, Kilo Victor, Romeo and Grapevine, short time, no traffic.
KG5B, Mike and Richardson.
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, Tom, Louisville.
Kilo
Kilo 5, Golf Lima Delta, Randy Rowlett.
Kilo 5, Juliet Delta Whiskey, John and Coppell.
Kilo 5, Alpha November Papa, Alan in Dallas.
November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Clay and Mesquite.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brendan DeSoto.
Alpha Foxtrot 5, Tango X-Ray, BJ in Crandall.
Alpha Golf 5, Papa Mike, Rich, Rockwall.
Kilo 5, Kilo Tango X-Ray, Kelly in Quinlan.
Okay, let's pause there. So, I acknowledge KI5GRH. Hi, Melissa. AC9KV, Romy. KG5P, Mike. KE5ICX, Tom. KE5GLD, Randy. K5JDW, John. Evidently back up on the north side of town. K5ANP, Alan. N5OF, Clay. WB5OZL, Brenda. AF5TX, BJ. AG5PM, Rich. And K5KTX, Kelly. Do we have any other RF check-ins to Skynet? Please come now. This is N5BB.
Kilo India 5, India Sierra India, Eric and Richardson. In Mesquite, I guess I was on Echo Link already, and I'm causing trouble over there.
Okay, stop. KF5 ISI, Eric, I got you. Some station doubled with you in Mesquite. Go again.
Oh, this is just a troublemaker. KF5 JHA, Chaz, Mesquite.
Okay, Chaz. As if you couldn't cause enough trouble on Echo Link, you're causing trouble over here now. I've got you. Okay, Eric, KI5 ISI, where were you located again?
I'm in Richardson.
Got it. Great. Okay, do we have any other RF check-ins? This is N5BB.
This is Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas.
Okay, please stop. Mark, you're very weak. Please try again. I copied Kilo Golf 5, Juliet, Charlie. Mark and Wiley, is that correct?
November 5, Juliet, Charlie.
Okay, correction. November 5, Juliet, Charlie. That sounds better. Very good, Mark. I have you, and I recognize Gus, W5GUS. Good evening. Do we have any other RF check-ins to Skynet? This is N5BB.
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform, David, Mesquite.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Hotel Kilo November, Dallas, cabin.
Okay, I recognize KG5UKU, David. KF5ZBL, Bill. and KF5HKN, Kevin. Do we have any other RF check-ins for Skynet? This is N5BB, net control. Okay, we'll have a chance for check-ins later. Do we have any RF check-ins other than Chaz? I've got you, Chaz. That would like a check-in on voice. So Kelly and Chaz and Tom, I have you. The other stations that are there, JJ, Luis, and Shane. Do any of you want to check in on voice? Otherwise, I'll check you in myself directly. This is N5BB, waiting for Echolink check-in. Go ahead.
Whiskey Zero, Mike Bravo Charlie, Shane in Blue Springs on Echolink with
Falcon.
Okay, I'd like to recognize N5IMS, JJ, and Carrollton in listen-only mode tonight. W0MBC, Shane and Bethany, welcome. And I also want to recognize KI5BNP. I don't know where Luis is, but he is here. So, do we have any other check-ins of any type for Skynet? Please come down.
Kilo Charlie 5, Romeo Alpha India, and I'm just listening. KC5REI, back to the net.
KC5REI, I got you there, Charles. Do we have any other stations that would like to check in Skynet? Okay. We'll have a chance later in the net for other people to check in. And by that time, Chaz may have arranged his Braniff ticket with Tom to fly to on Ozark Airlines to somewhere. I'm not sure where. He'll have a ticket to ride, which is a Beatles thing. Anyway, do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? No, that's not announcements by Tom General. It's general announcements. This can be amateur radio, astronomical, space, or general announcements for the net. If so, please come down with your call sign only. This is N5BB with Skynet. Oh my, that's very slow. Bill at KF5ZBL, since Tony isn't here, you want to make any comments about the lecture and lab and upcoming Dallas club meeting on the air in 5BB, or on the other ways, however you're going to do it? Go ahead there, Bill.
Well, I guess I can. Let's see here. The meeting is, the board meeting and the general meeting are going to be online events, not over the air, but online, both of them. The board meeting is going to be 6 o'clock. The general meeting's at 7 o'clock. You can find both links in the event calendar on w5fc.org website, and join us there. The general meeting will be by Jason Dunn, about radar and what radar produces and what you see from the radar. And he's also going to talk about the tornadoes that hit in October this last year. So that'll be the topic for the general meeting. So that'll be a lot of fun. But go out to Google Meet. So go out to the club calendar and find the links to those. And then on May the 23rd, we're going to have a lecture and lab. It's going to start at 11 o'clock, and it's going to be about WinLink. So how to get your computer started, how to download the software. We're going to pass messages around, make sure you're making an account, all that kind of good stuff, and make sure that everybody's up and running and working and can understand what WinLink's all about, because there is a net called WinLink Wednesday. So a bunch of people get together on WinLink Wednesday and play that way. So you also learn how to hook it up to your computer and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, your radio, and so that should be a lot of fun. So that's what I have about the meeting and the lecture and lab. So I'll send it back to that. KFI's the deal.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. So to reiterate, on May the 5th, this coming Tuesday, starting at 6 p.m. And continuing on at 7 p.m., we have the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting virtually. The link is on the calendar at w5sc.org. And then on Saturday, May the 23rd, the fourth Saturday in May, we have the lecture and lab online with at 11 a.m. with WinLink, John Galvin N5TIM. Any corrections or comments? This is N5BB. Go ahead.
Our question, KG5B.
Yes, go ahead there, Mike.
What date was that WinLink? Zoom meeting, when was that? KG5P.
It's at the fourth Saturday of May, which is 3 weeks from today, Saturday, May 23rd, in 5BB. How's that, Mike?
Okay, very good, Bill. Thank you. May 23rd. Back to net, KG5P.
Okay. I'll just announce also the Dallas Amateur Radio Club runs the meeting on the air on the first and third Sundays of every month. And that means that tomorrow, that meeting on the air will be at 7 p.m. on this repeater. And then 2 weeks later, on the 17th, there'll be another meeting on the air. I guess I should be asking Tom about that. So is that all correct, Tom? We're still having meetings on the air, KU5ICX and 5BB. So I guess I should have been asking all along.
Bill, it's the first and third Sunday at 7 o'clock, right after the Traffic Net at 6:30, and then before the Dallas Races Net begins at 8 o'clock. So from 7 to 8, anybody can join. First and third Sundays. We ask what's going on in your ham world, and we also tell you about all the events going on with the Dallas Amateur Radio Club. Firstly, all of them are online now, so you're welcome to attend any and all. That's it, Bill. KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. I have to keep recalibrating my brain whether to ask you or Bill about these meetings. And of course, either of you can discuss them, so it doesn't make a lot of difference, I guess. Okay, very good. So do we have any other general amateur or radio or astronomy announcements? If so, please come now before we continue with the net. Okay, some other general announcements. AMSAT Group has 2 nets available to Dallas residents. Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time. Get on Echolink and look for asterisk, AMSAT asterisk, under groups. There's also a live audio link. Look at www.amsatnet.com. That's amsatnet.com. That net originates in Houston. There's a DFW AMSAT net every Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. This is on the Arlington 147.14 repeater with a PL tone of 110.9, positive offset. So that was about AMSAT. Then just refreshing everybody, there are other Dallas nets, Dallas Amatorial Club. On Mondays, first week, we have Ham Fixings Net, which should be coming up this coming Monday. The next Monday, we have MCOM 101. The third Monday, we have Ham Fixing Nets again. We like food. And then the fourth Monday, we have GeekNet. If there is a fifth Monday, we have Surprise Net. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is a fifth Monday no, there is not. Take that back. There is no fifth Monday in May. There's a fifth Sunday, but no fifth Monday. So we will not have a Surprise Net in May. Surprise! And Saturday nights, preceding this net, 2 hours, starting at 7 p.m., we have TechNet. And then, of course, this net starting at 9 o'clock. And then we have the Afterglow Bad Movie Net starting at 10:30. Tom, would you like to describe the I'm going to put movie in scare quotes, MOVIE, that we're supposed to talk about tonight? KE5ICX, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Bill. And yes, I'm always very excited to talk about whatever the movie is. And this has been fact-checked by the Smithsonian Institute to make sure that I actually got this absolutely correct. And they've given me the something. Here we go. Michaelia and Destry Spielberg looked at each other warily. They knew that what they were about to do was sacrilege. Michaelia took the E.T. phone home plushie and put it under her bed, just in case their famous father had some sort of nanny cam installed in the toy's massive eyes. They turned on the VHS machine. The contraband was clutched in Destry's hands. Shivering, she opened the outer casing. The blue Blockbuster video sign emblazoned on the front, not to mention the obvious yellow happy face, be kind, rewind sticker also on the verboten package. One step closer. Do you think Dad will be mad? Michaelia asked. He'd be furious if he saw this. Years from now, this could become a lifetime made-for-TV movie with us played by beautiful actors, which wouldn't be entirely bad, or would it? Exclaimed Destry. The machine whirred to life. Morons from outer space flickered on the screen. Smiles appeared on their faces. This is so much better than their father's bonk bonk on the head, moralizing science fiction tales. The Spielberg Maserati pulled up to the mansion's front door. Join us for the Afterglow movie, Morons from Outer Space, tonight at 10:30 p.m. Back to net control. KE5ICX.
And you can tell it's a movie from the 80s because there were no Teslas damaged or SpaceX hardware, either one. Nothing but Elon Musk was damaged in the making of this movie. Thank you, Tom. One more net at 6:30 nearly every evening. We have the early DFW traffic net on this repeater, 6:30 p.m. And then at 10:30 p.m. every night of the month, we have the late session of the DFW Traffic Net on the Irving repeaters, 146.72, and there's also a 220 and a 440 that are linked to that repeater. Okay. Any additional check-ins before we continue with Texas Astronomical Society? This is N5BB, looking for check-ins to Skynet.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton.
Kilo Golf 5, Alpha.
Pro, Zulu Lima, Mike, Nick, checking in from Iowa on Echo Link.
Golf 5, Zulu Mike, Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Okay, we had at least one double there. I recognize KG5WVL, James. And then there was a station whose call sign started with Kilo Golf 5 Alpha. Would you please come again?
Yes, sir. Kilo Golf 5 Alpha Papa Lima, Patrick and Dallas.
Very good. Welcome, Patrick. I recognize KG5APL. Then on Echo Link, I had KE0ZLM, Nick in Iowa, and KG5ZMG, Joe. I also will recognize on Echo Link KC5MPO, Jamie, and another common member, KG5BZWJ, who I don't think I got before. Do we have any other people I've missed that would like to check into Skynet? This is N5BB. Go ahead. Okay. Let's move ahead. Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas. Chaz, do you have that information this evening? If so, then go ahead. This is N5BB.
Well, good evening, everyone. How are all of you doing? The Texas Astronomical Society is having meetings, but they're virtual. They're Zoom. And the last one was on March 24th. We'll have another one at the 4th Friday in May. Is that the 22nd? I'd have to look at that, but I haven't looked that one up. But we don't have a scheduled speaker yet, but we had a really good one. A professional astronomer that's also an amateur astronomical photographer, and he showed us all sorts of pictures. Adam Block was our featured speaker last month. But we always will have a constellation of the month, and I know the presenter of that one, and he's pretty funny, I think. Anyway, so if you want to find information about the Texas Astronomical Society, you can go to texasastro.org. Now, once all this shelter-in-place gets completely over, we'll probably start having observing sessions on the Saturday nights, and we'll give you those details once that happens back once again. Okay, does anybody have any questions? I guess not. This is KF5, JHA, back to net control. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Chaz. Now that we've gotten through the TAS, National Space Society. This is N5BB, net control for Skynet. The National Space Society, under normal conditions, local chapter meets on the second Sunday of every month. However, we can't have a physical meeting now. So we are having virtual meetings on WebEx for our members. If anybody is interested in listening into one of those meetings, I'm the host, so you can contact me, N5BB, that's November 5 Bravo Bravo, at ARRL.net. And I'll be glad to give you information to listen in on our next WebEx meeting on Sunday, May the 10th. We've had to cancel for now all of our local events, and the International Space Development Conference later in May in Frisco had to be canceled also. Just like, if you haven't heard, HamCom is canceled for this year. It'll be moved to next year. So no HamCom this year. Okay, that's National Space Society. Do we have any questions about Texas Astronautical Society or National Space Society? If so, please come down. Okay, this is N5BB, Net Control for Skynet. Now it's my turn because the topic of the night, the Net Control gets to present. So, I'm going to read an article which is published in the latest issue of Science magazine. This is a journal of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, AAAS. And this was published on the May 1st issue. The name of this article was "What Future Awaits the Sun," and the main topic here is the apparent results from some studies that indicate that our sun is less active than other solar-like stars. This is big news. This has to do with the sunspot cycle. This has to do with amateur radio operators being able to communicate on HF. It also has to do with our weather and many other things which are affected by the sun. So, what future awaits the sun? The sun and other similar solar-like stars have an internal magnetic field that can emerge on the surface, forming features such as dark spots, which we call sunspots on our sun, which drive the so-called magnetic activity. For both the sun and solar-like stars, magnetic activity varies with time and strongly correlates with the photometric or brightness variability. In the solar and stellar scientific communities, a debate rages on about how the magnetic activity of the sun, that's our sun, compares with that of similar stars, and whether this will reach very high activity levels or is now in a position of transition to a state of reduced magnetic activity. In the same issue of the magazine Science, there's a short paper, which compares the sun's photometric variability with those of solar-like stars and finds that the latter are more active. In other words, other stars seem to be more active than the sun does. Again, this has been rather controversial, and this is the first clear study that's looked at a lot of this information. The appearance and disappearance of magnetic features on the sun's surface cycle over an 11-year period called the solar cycle. As the magnetic fields emerge, they form sunspots at mid to low latitudes, which appear darker than the surrounding quiet surface. The number of sunspots varies over the activity cycle. Near activity maximum, the sun exhibits hundreds of sunspots. And during an activity minimum, sunspots are almost absent. By the way, the number of suns right now has been 0 or nearly 0 for a while. We're at the very bottom of a cycle. The number of sunspots on the sun's surface is the most regularly used solar activity proxy. When the magnetic field lines are disturbed or during an activity maximum, solar flares might occur. Coronal mass ejections, which is release of magnetized solar plasma, often follow the flares and represent what is commonly called a solar storm. These can be very dangerous for us here on the Earth. They can even impact our power grid. The detailed mechanisms that control solar magnetic activity are not yet fully understood. Studying stars that roughly share properties with our sun, similar temperature, mass, age, rotational period, and chemical composition, allows scientists to place the sun in the context of other stars, investigate changes in the sun over time, and predict its future. Such comparisons often place the sun in a special category, an outlier in the context of other stars. This is N5BB, it's Skynet. Contrary to sunspots, which can be observed with the naked eye, of course, this is if you reduce the intensity of the sun with a filter so you don't hurt your eye. Star spots on the surface of distant stars cannot be resolved in this way. Instead, scientists seek to detect the indirect effect of star spots on, for example, stellar brightness. The advent of planet hunting missions in space, that is, avoiding the Earth's atmosphere, particularly that of the Kepler Space Telescope, has yielded unprecedented, high-precision, long-term observations of stellar light. Such information is exceptional not only for exoplanet research, but also for stellar physics. Because stars rotate, dark spots move in and out of view and modulate the observed stellar light. Whereas the periodicity of the stellar light modulation is related to surface rotation, the amplitude is related to the percentage of stellar surface covered by spots, thus representing a proxy for stellar magnetic activity. This is Skynet in 5BB net control. The Kepler Space Telescope observed a small patch of the sky in the Cygnus and Lyra constellations for almost 4 continuous years. Kepler's long-term and high-quality observations are ideal to characterize stellar activity. Combining Kepler data with the recent data released from the Gaia mission to map the Milky Way galaxy, the authors of this paper, published yesterday, meticulously selected solar-like stars with reliable periods and measured their photometric variability. This sample of stars represents the largest number of solar-like stars with the closest properties to those of our Sun identified to date. For the Sun, the authors used data from Virgo, the Variability of Solar Irradiance and Gravity Oscillations experiment. The authors established that the magnetic activity level of the Sun, based on the photometric variability, that's how much the brightness is changing, is lower than that of the solar-like stars. I'll repeat that. The magnetic activity, which generates sunspots, of our Sun is lower than that of other solar-like stars. But why does the Sun seem to differ so much from other stars that appear to be the most similar to it? Are the data telling us the Sun can reach higher activity levels, maybe in the future? This is Skynet in 5BB Net Control. The notion that the Sun might reach higher solar activity levels is quite unpleasant news for technological societies. The strong activity and the associated solar storms not only produce the beautiful northern and southern lights, but also might compromise satellites and power lines, threatens the life of astronauts in space, and affect the Earth's climate. High stellar activity also has a non-negligible impact on the habitability of planets found around active stars, because their atmospheres might be swept out into deep space by such high magnetic activity. Thus, characterizing stellar magnetic properties is also extremely important for exoplanet research. This is N5BB. These results also question the theory of a transitioning Sun. Astronomers thought that as stars evolve, they gradually slow down. That means the rotation period grows longer, and they become less active. Recent studies have suggested, however, that at a given point in its lifetime, a star faces a dramatic midlife crisis. If its activity cycle shuts down, the star's rotation slows down. So, excuse me, let me say that again. As its activity cycle shuts down, the star's rotation stops slowing down. So instead of slowing down, the rotation rate of the star will remain reasonably constant. According to this scenario, our Sun is approaching that time of its life. Can the Sun already be transitioning while the solar-like stars observed with Kepler in the new study continue to progress in their steady evolution? This is N5BB, Skynet. The future of our Sun remains uncertain. The Kepler mission unexpectedly revolutionized stellar physics and, with the new discoveries, challenged what we thought we knew. 6 years after the conclusion of its main mission, the legacy of stellar data continues to yield noteworthy information, as shown by the group that wrote this paper. The current TESS, that's the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, and future PLATO, Plato, that's Planetary Transits and Oscillations of Stars, space missions, while searching the full sky for exoplanets, will collect data for an extraordinary number of stars. However, these missions are planned to obtain short-term observations, which will hamper a proper characterization of stellar long-term magnetic activity. This is N5BB and Skynet. On the bright side, joke. On the bright side, these missions will observe brighter stars than Kepler did. This will allow astronomers to do ground-based follow-up observations, which will provide independent constraints on stellar activity. This was not possible for most of the Kepler targets, which are faint. Future research will certainly provide answers to some of the open questions on rotation and magnetic evolution, and in turn, stellar evolution itself. So to some of you listening here, some of you people that are here all the time, I send an email with a text I just read, followed by some figures, some images from the article and from the paper. One of these shows from Virgo and Kepler data the difference between a star with very little sunspots and the stars with lots of sunspots. You can really tell the difference in the intensity profile relating to the rotation. There's also a graph showing you the statistics of this, and showing that our sun has statistics which are quite different from these other stars, which might indicate our sun happens to be at a place where it's transitioning. But we're not really sure. Okay, that's the end of what future awaits the sun. Do we have any questions about what I just read? Or do we have any additional check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet.
Kilo X-ray 7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, checking in.
Very good. KX7WTF, I apologize. I can't remember your name. I should. Go ahead.
This is from Sean from Denton, not on Echo Link. I'm actually on my mobile tonight.
Gotcha, Sean. I see a couple of other news stations on Echolink. Would any of you like to check in? This is N5BB, Skynet.
Check, W0NBC.
Go ahead, Shane. Yes, W0NBC. Go ahead with your comment, Shane.
Third party wants to take in.
Good night, Dallas.
Good night, Bethany. I hope you like hearing about stars and our sun and other things in space.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Very good. W0NBC. This is N5BB. I would like to recognize also KG5PPH, John in Plano over on Echolink, and KK6DUB Elaine, who I've spoken to before, but I can't remember where you are, Elaine. You might want to type that in over on the text so you can refresh my poor memory. Okay, let's continue. Next we have, what do we have? This is Skynet. N5BB, net control. Next we have space exploration and space history with Kelly, K5KTX. Take it away, Kelly.
Thank you, Bill. This is K5KTX. Good evening, everyone on Skynet. As astronauts explore the moon during the Artemis program, they may need to make use of the resources that already exist on the lunar surface. Take water, for instance. Because it's a heavy and therefore expensive resource to launch from Earth, our future explorers might have to seek out ice to mine. Once excavated, it can be melted and purified for drinking and used for rocket fuel. But how much water is there on the moon, and where might we find it? This is where NASA's lunar flashlight comes in. About the size of a briefcase, the small satellite, also known as a CubeSat, aims to detect naturally occurring surface ice believed to be at the bottom of craters on the moon that have never seen sunlight. Managed by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California, the spacecraft is a technology demonstration. It will seek to achieve several technological firsts, including being the first mission to look for water ice using lasers. It will also be the first planetary spacecraft to use a green propellant, a new kind of fuel that is safer to transport and store than the commonly used spacecraft propellant hydrazine. Over the course of 2 months, Lunar Flashlight will swoop low over the moon's south pole to shine its lasers into permanently shadowed regions and probe for surface ice. Found near the north and south poles, these dark craters are thought to be cold traps that accumulate molecules of different ices, including water ice. The molecules may have come from comet and asteroid material impacting the lunar surface and from solar wind interactions with the lunar soil. Lunar Flashlight's 4-laser reflectometer will use near-infrared wavelengths that are readily absorbed by water to identify any accumulations of ice on the surface. Should the lasers hit bare rock as they shine into the South Pole's permanently shadowed regions, their light will reflect back to the spacecraft, signaling a lack of ice. But if the light is absorbed, it would mean these dark pockets do indeed contain ice. The greater the absorption, the more widespread ice may be at the surface. While the CubeSat can provide information only about the presence of ice on the surface and not below it, Lunar Flashlight seeks to fill a critical gap in our understanding of how much water ice these regions possess. Lunar Flashlight will be one of 13 secondary payloads aboard the Artemis 1 mission, the first integrated flight test of NASA's deep space exploration systems, including the Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System, or SLS rocket, launching from the newly upgraded Exploration Ground Systems at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The launch window for the Mars 2020 rover, now known as Perseverance, opens around July 17th, so I thought I would take a few minutes during my time on this net to briefly tell you about the instruments on board this rover. This week, I'm going to tell you a bit about the Planetary Instrument for X-ray Lithochemistry, or PIXL. PIXL has a tool called an X-ray spectrometer. It identifies chemical elements at a tiny scale. PIXL also has a camera that takes super close-up pictures of rocks and soil textures. It can see features as small as a grain of salt. Together, this information helps scientists look for signs of past microbial life on Mars. This instrument is mounted on the turret at the end of the robotic arm. The principal investigator is Abigail Allwood from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And I also wanted to mention that the helicopter that will be taking a ride with the rover also has a new name. Its name is going to be Ingenuity. It was named by high school students, and so Ingenuity and Perseverance will be on their way to Mars later this summer. In space history this week, on April the 26th, back in 1971, until this day in 1971, the crews of Apollo moon missions had to spend 3 weeks in quarantine after returning to Earth. Well, we kind of know what that's like. Why? For fear of lunar pathogens, or moon germs. After Apollo 14, when it was proven that the moon was void of life, then Administrator George Low canceled the quarantine. After that, when astronauts return to the Earth, they could exit their landing capsules into the fresh Pacific Ocean air. Also on April the 26th in 1998, Cassini made its first flyby of Venus. The flyby gave the spacecraft a boost in speed that would help it on its trajectory to Saturn. But another flyby of Venus and the Earth in 1999, plus a gravity assist from Jupiter in 2000, were needed to get Cassini to Saturn in the summer of 2004. On September 15, 2017, Cassini ended the mission, which began in October 1997. Over the course of nearly 20 years, the spacecraft explored Saturn and its moons and other parts of our solar system along the way. On April the 27th, 1961, Explorer 11 launched as the first gamma-ray detecting satellite. Gamma radiation makes up the highest energy or shortest wavelength portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. Gamma rays are far outside of the visible spectrum and are highly harmful to human tissue. Explorer 11, by detecting gamma rays, gave us a new perspective of the universe, a perspective not achievable with the human eye. Also on April the 27th in 1972, the Apollo 16 command module, call sign Casper, touched down in the Pacific Ocean. On board were astronauts John Young, Ken Mattingly, and Charlie Duke. A helicopter from the recovery ship USS Ticonderoga picked up the crewmen. Also on board Casper was 209 pounds of rocks and soil from the moon. On April the 29th, 1966, the 64-meter dish antenna dubbed Mars Station was dedicated at Goldstone, California as part of the Deep Space Network, or DSN. A month prior to dedication, the Mars Station received its first signals from Mariner 4, the first spacecraft to closely observe Mars, leading to the dish antenna's moniker. Also known as Deep Space Station 14, or DSS-14, it was the largest dish built for the network to that date, measuring over 200 feet across. Later, two identical antennas were built, one for each of the DSN sites in Spain and Australia. In 1988, the Mars antenna was upgraded to a 70-meter diameter to increase sensitivity needed to support the 1989 Voyager 2 flyby of Neptune. Since then, the modifications have continued to prove useful in our exploration of the solar system. DSS-14 remains in active use at Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex. On April the 11th, 2015, the MESSENGER, or Mercury Surface, Space Environment, Geochemistry, and Ranging mission came to an end when the probe impacted the surface of Mercury in a planned collision. The impact marked the final act of an 11-year flight. Launched on August 3rd, 2004, the spacecraft traveled 4.9 billion miles, making 15 trips around the Sun and performing flybys of Earth once, Venus twice, and Mercury 3 times before settling into orbit around the planet. MESSENGER is only the second space probe to visit Mercury and the only one to orbit the planet. Orbital operations began on March 17, 2011. During its 4 years in orbit around Mercury, MESSENGER's instruments yielded a trove of data, including a magnetic field, a representation of the planet's surface composition and geological history, and the discovery of polar deposits composed of water ice. And finally, on May the 1st, back in 1949, Gerard Kuiper discovered Nereid, one of the largest and outermost of Neptune's known moons. In fact, Nereid is far enough from Neptune that it takes 360 Earth days to complete a single orbit. Scientists believe the odd nature of Nereid's orbit suggests that the moon may be a captured asteroid, or that it was greatly disturbed during the capture of Triton, Neptune's largest moon. Kuiper suggested the name Nereid after the sea nymph of Greek mythology, following suit with Neptune and its satellite sea-based mythology namesakes. Among Kuiper's numerous other achievements, he predicted the existence of a donut-shaped region of minor planets and other icy objects around the orbit of Neptune. This region outside the orbit of Neptune. Sorry. This region, named the Kuiper Belt in his honor, is one of the main focuses of the New Horizons mission 2006 and explored Pluto in 2015. And that's all I've got this evening. This is K5 KTX. Back to you, Bill.
Very good, Kelly. This is N5BB, Skynet. Do we have any questions for Kelly, or do any late check-ins? If so, please come now. This is Skynet, N5BB. I would like to recognize on Echo Link K5YE, Will, and KI5IUB, Jake. Welcome to the net. Let's see now. Wake up, Chaz. It's time for Was Up with our resident astronomer, Chaz. Go ahead, Chaz. KF5JHA. This is N5BB and Skynet.
Thank you, Bill. Actually, I was not sleeping. Good evening, everyone. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree is in astrophysics, and I work at Brookhaven Community College. And we call this segment of Skynet Was Up. It has the same name as an article that I write for the Astronomy Club newsletter. Two weeks ago, I started a tour of the constellations that are visible in the evening sky. I want to finish that tour tonight. Both weeks I've talked about Ursa Major, which has the Big Dipper, and Ursa Minor, which has the Little Dipper. The Big Dipper can be used to help us find many other constellations. So once again, I think it's a very good place to start. Get it? Very good place? Okay. Now, looking high in the northern sky, you can find the Big Dipper, which is part of the constellation of Ursa Major, the Big Bear. The Big Dipper is an asterism. Right now, the Big Bear and the Big Dipper are upside down. I told you last week and the week before that it's always upside down in the evening in the spring, and that's why we have so much rain. But that's not working out this year. We're actually below normal for the month of April for the amount of rainfall, and it looks pretty dry for May so far too. So if you remember from a couple weeks ago, the two stars at the end of the bowl on the opposite side of the handle from the Big Dipper, to find Polaris, you draw a line from one to the other, and that's how you can find it. So draw a line from the bottom of the star in the bowl called Merak to the top of the bowl, Doobie, and keep on going and you get to Polaris. But this time, we're going to draw a line in the opposite direction from Doobie to Merak, and we'll be finding the constellation of Leo. So, draw the line opposite, go to the south, and you'll find Leo. Leo the Lion looks like one of those lions you see in front of an old library building sitting out front guarding the library. Tonight, the moon is just underneath the belt of Leo the Lion, so go outside and take a look. The front part of Leo looks like a sickle or a backward question mark. The brightest star in Leo is the dot at the bottom of the backwards question mark. It's called Regulus. The top of the backward question mark represents the head of the lion. The back end of the lion is a triangle of stars. Using the few stars below the backward question mark and the triangle, you can imagine a couple of legs for Leo the lion. Now, my question is, what is the hair on the back of the lion's head called? Think about it. Oh, it's the mane. So Leo must be our main attraction tonight. Between Leo and the Big Dipper, there are a few faint stars called Leo Minor. The little lion, you really must get out away from the city lights in order to see the stars in Leo Minor. Not many stars there. Below Leo is the constellation called Sextans. The sextant The sextant is only a few faint stars and is very difficult to see in the city. Now, a sextant is a device that measures angles between objects. If you measure the angle between Polaris and the horizon, you can find your approximate latitude. With the correcting tables that you look up, you can find your exact latitude. So a sextant is a tool used in navigation. Of course, nowadays you could just pull out your GPS on your phone. Below sextants is two more faint constellations, Crater and Corvus. Crater is a cup, and Corvus is a crow or a raven. To me, Crater looks like a radio telescope rather than a cup, and Corvus just looks like a box with a couple of extra stars. For me, Corvus is much easier to find than Crater, because Crater has fainter stars. Now, below Corvus and Crater is located the water snake Hydra. Hydra stretches through a good part of the southern spring sky. Just connect a few faint stars and you've got a snake. Any kindergartner can do that, so that's what Hydra looks like. A couple of extra stars for his head. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. So after the last 3 Skynet programs, I've given to you a basic tour of the spring evening sky. I've skipped over a few constellations like Draco the Dragon and Camelopardatus the Giraffe and Monoceros the Unicorn. I still think we should call Monoceros a rhinoceros. That makes more sense than a unicorn. But I encourage you to get away from the city lights, go camping at a state park when they're open for overnight camping, and look at all the constellations on your own. Take a pair of binoculars and or a telescope with you, and you can find an online good starting star map at www.skymaps.com. I wish I could have been together during this tour of the sky. I would have used one of my green lasers, pointed out the objects, and told stories along with the tour of the sky. In the middle of the summer, I'll give you another tour of the evening sky here on Skynet. Between now and then, we'll talk about other details in the sky. Now, on April the 30th, the moon was at its first quarter phase, so the current phase of the moon is a waxing gibbous. On May the 7th, the moon will be full. On May the 14th, the moon will be at its third quarter, and the moon will be new on May the 22nd, which is the beginning of the lunar new cycle. All right, some of you may have seen it back in 1986, Comet Halley. If you didn't, you can still see at the beginning of May at least a part of it, because pieces and parts of the comet are going to be visible to us. When Comet Halley travels in its orbit, it leaves small bits of debris. These small bits of debris come in orbit around the sun, and in the early part of May, each year the Earth runs into some of this debris. The particles run into the Earth's atmosphere so hard and so fast that they burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. It's sort of like you rubbing your hands together and your hands getting warmer. That's what's happening. It's friction. This is the reason for the Eta Aquariid meteor shower. The Eta Aquariid meteor shower peaks on the night of May the 4th and 5th, with on average about 55 meteors per hour. Well, in other words, about 1 meteor per minute. Most meteors are seen in the morning sky, the hour before morning twilight. So get up early on May the 5th rather than staying up late on the night of May the 4th. But wait. Inside the city, you might only see a dozen meteors an hour because of light pollution. And now, hold on, we have another problem. This year, the almost full moon won't set until 5:30 a.m. on the morning of May the 5th. And so the bright moon will also interfere with seeing the much fainter meteors. So inside the city, with almost a full moon, you might only see a meteor maybe once every 10 minutes or so. Once again, once the state parks of Texas are open, you might be able to go take a look at the nighttime sky, camping. Right now, the state parks are open, but only for day use. but you would see many more meteors than the dark skies of a state park. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. On May the 11th, low in the western evening sky during twilight, you might be able to spot Mercury next to the star cluster, the Pleiades. That's Antares. Again, this will make for a great photographic opportunity as long as it's clear. Now, just a few hours later in the morning of May the 12th, at around 2 a.m., look for the Moon and Jupiter in conjunction located in the southeastern sky, and Saturn will be just a little bit lower. And on May 15th at 4 a.m., the Moon and Mars will be in conjunction and is easily seen rising in the southeastern sky. Now, Mars is getting closer and closer to the Earth. In October, Mars and the Earth will be at their closest in over 2 years. I'll talk more about that as we get closer to that event. Now, the next meeting of the Texas Astronomical Society will be on May the 22nd. Oh, I did have that information. And at this point in time, it'll be another virtual club meeting using Zoom. Details about the forthcoming meeting is available on our website, texasastro.org. But if you're not a member of TAS, you'll need to get information about that Zoom meeting because you'll need to know the exact details. Contact one of the officers of the Texas Astronomical Society, and their information is on the website. Now, once again, with a Zoom meeting, parking's not a problem. And I hope that TAS will be able to resume the face-to-face public observing sessions on Saturday nights after all the shelter-in-place is over. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a help or any information at all? Or maybe just a general question on astronomy. I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Oh no, Mike, I was looking so forward to your question. Okay, as a reminder, if you're a Brookhaven student listening to or watching Skynet tonight, remember to fill out the form digitally. Don't use pictures. Send it to me electronically by email within the next 48 hours so you can get credit for your stargazing credit. So as the moon wanes toward the end of May, so do these words: stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. And until next time, keep looking up so you know what's up. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. Back to Bill, our net control. Thank you, Bill.
Very good, Chaz. JJ on Echolink asked, what's the difference between a crow and a raven?
I guess one is better eating than another one.
KG5P with an answer.
Hey, Mike, we woke you up. Go ahead.
Well, you see that the crow goes caw, caw, and the raven says nevermore.
I like your answer. Very good. Yeah, crows have funerals. Did you know that? They do. Let's see. Now, do we have any late check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet.
Kilo 5, Whiskey, Romeo, Zulu.
K5WRZ, good evening. What's your name and location, please?
My name is Joseph Webb. My QTH is Southwest Fort Worth, but I'm currently in transit on 121 heading up toward Carrollton.
Did you say your name was Justin?
Joseph, like the biblical father of Jesus, Joseph. Though I don't make that claim. That would be very blasphemous.
Okay, we got you, Joseph. You were breaking up right as you said it, so it was hard for me to tell. Very good. You're a long way over there. Be safe. Okay, do we have any other late-minute check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet.
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot, India, WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power.
WB4MFI, low power Ted. When you're strong in the repeater, Ted, welcome. Okay, let's move forward with the next item. Mike, it's time for Miss Carolyn's constellation of the month, or your topic of the week, whatever you want to do. Go right ahead, and hopefully it's, only a little over 5 minutes. N5BB.
Okay, N5BB, KU5P. Okay, I'll try to hold to that. I'm going to combine this topic and the constellation of the month to be the star of the week. Tonight's stars Antares. This is in the constellation Scorpius. Scorpius is very easy to see in the Texas Star Party in the dark night. It's almost like an old friend because it comes up right around the Milky Way, and it actually does look like a scorpion compared to say like Canis Minor. That's just 2 stars, and you have to imagine now there's a dog in there. Scorpius actually looks like a scorpion, even if he's got a little stinger widget. So Antares is the brightest star in the constellation Scorpius. In fact, it's the 16th brightest star in the sky, magnitude 1.06. So the best time to view Antares is on or around May 31st. It starts to rise. It probably hasn't risen yet, but it rises later every night, or earlier every night. So even at the Texas Star Party, it may not be up in the sky until quite late. So May 31st each year, when the stars at opposition from the sun, that also makes it away from the sun, so you can see it pretty well because there's no sunlight or anything to fog it up. Besides, it rises quite a long time after the sun sets. So one of the things about the star Antares, like you see in Antares, Antares, is that has a very fierce stellar wind blowing from the surface, and it even results in a large gas cloud, and it even has a nebulosity that you can give a name to. I happen to have a nice catalog name. It's even nicknamed the Antares Nebula, and the globular globular cluster M4 also appears nearby, but it's more than 10 times as far away. Antares actually means the rival of Mars, the Anti-Ares, which is the Greek name for what the Romans called Mars, the god of war. It has a bunch of other names. The Arabs had names for it. The old Egyptian temples are oriented so the light from Antares plays a role in the ceremonies performed there. Okay, as far as properties go, it's a red giant, a spectral class M2. This size is big. If where the sun is, the outer parts of it would probably be between Mars and Jupiter, although pulsating red giant, so it doesn't exactly have a constant diameter. But its visual luminosity is actually about 9,900 times out of the sun. but the star radiates a lot of its energy in the infrared. So its total luminosity is about 65,000 times the sun. And the star's radius is 3.4 AUs, approximately 400 times the sun. That's why it was the center of our solar system. It was full of planets from Mercury to Mars. Large size and relatively small mass, by small, it has about 15 to 18 solar masses. It would have very low average density, which the source I have says it probably doesn't have much time left. By the way, it's only about 11 million years old, which is a blink of the eye. And astronomical time. Antares is the brightest, most massive, and most evolved member of the Scorpius Antares Association. It contains thousands of stars, and most of these have an age of about 11 million years. Antares is a well-known double star. It has a hot blue companion at about 2.9 seconds. But the orbit is poorly known because it shines with 170 times the sun luminosity. Antares is so bright, so much glare that it's difficult to see it. Antares B can be observed with a small telescope for a few seconds during lunar occultations. Occultations when Antares itself is hit by the moon. In fact, that's how it was discovered. The companion takes that are comprised of about 7 or 8 solar masses. This below the supernova limit and will probably die in a massive white dwarf. So that's all I had to say. We'll have a different star next week. So back to net, KG5P.
Very good, Mike. Mike, your audio is rather weak this evening, so you need to get close to the microphone or run up your gain or something. We can hear you, but it's a little difficult for some stations. Do we have any questions about Mike's items there, or do we have any other late check-ins? This is Skynet, N5BB, net control.
I used to raise my microphone gain, see if that makes any difference.
Wow, night and day. It sounds like you're 15 dB stronger, Mike. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's move ahead with space launches for the week. Tom, do we have some quick ones so that we'll have a little bit of time for Brenda to talk about recent astronomical discoveries? Go ahead, KE5ICX.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I'm only going to focus on one, and this one's really important. May 27th, Falcon 9 Crew Dragon Demo 2. This is expected to launch from Launch Complex 39A. Yeah, that's the one that launched all the moon rockets. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket will launch a Crew Dragon spacecraft on its first test flight with astronauts on board to the International Space Station under the auspices of the NASA's Commercial Crew Program. NASA's astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Bennigan will fly on the Demo 2 mission. The Crew Dragon will return to a splashdown at sea. This mission also, by the way, the launch escape system, I'm sorry, the parachute system number 17, I think. I'm trying to go by memory here, was successful this past week, and the failure of the Raptor engine that was on one of the missions earlier this year has been certified, so this mission is a go. The last two obstacles now allow this mission to go forward, May 27th. Back to you, Bill, KE5ICX.
Very good, Tom. Hope they are successful there and get through all the COVID-19 slowdowns. Okay, Brenda, let's slide to you with the recent astronomical discoveries. WB5OZL. This is N5BB. Go ahead, Brenda.
Thank you, Bill. This article is entitled, New Study Examines Which Galaxies Are Best for Intelligent Life. giant elliptical galaxies are not as likely as previously thought to be cradles of technological civilizations such as our own, according to a recent paper by a University of Arkansas astrophysicist. The paper, published May 1st in the journal Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, contradicts a 2015 study that theorized giant elliptical galaxies would be 10,000 times more likely than spiral disk galaxies such as the Milky Way to harbor planets that could nurture advanced technological civilizations. The increased likelihood, the authors of the 2015 study argued, would be because giant elliptical galaxies hold many more stars and have low rates of potentially lethal supernovae. But Daniel Whitmire, a retired professor of astrophysics who is an instructor in the U of A Mathematics Department, believes that the 2015 study contradicts a statistical rule called the principle of mediocrity, also known as the Copernican principle, which states that in the absence of evidence to the contrary, an object or some property of an object would be considered typical of its class rather than atypical. Historically, the principle has been employed several times to predict new physical phenomena, such as when Sir Isaac Newton calculated the approximate distance to the star Sirius by assuming that the sun is a typical star and then comparing the relative brightness of the two. The 2015 paper had a serious problem with the principle of mediocrity, said Whitmire. In other words, why don't we find ourselves living in a large elliptical galaxy? To me, this raised a red flag. Anytime you find yourself as an outlier, i.e. atypical, then that is a problem for the principle of mediocrity. He also had to show that stars and therefore planets reside in large elliptical galaxies in order to nail down his argument that the earlier paper violated the principle of mediocrity. According to the principle of mediocrity, Earth and its resident technological society would be typical, not atypical, of planets with technological civilizations elsewhere in the universe. That means that its location in a spiral-shaped disk galaxy should also be typical. But the 2015 paper suggests the opposite, that most habitable planets would not be located in galaxies similar to ours, but rather in large, spherical-shaped elliptical galaxies. In his paper, Whitmire suggests a reason why large elliptical galaxies may not be cradles of life. They were awash in lethal radiation when they were younger and smaller, and they went through a series of quasar and starburst supernovae events at that time. The evolution of elliptical galaxies is totally different than the Milky Way, said Whitmire. These galaxies went through an early phase in which there is so much radiation that it would just completely have nuked any habitable planets in the galaxy and subsequently the star formation rate. And thus any new planets went to essentially zero. There are no new stars forming and all the old stars have been irradiated and sterilized. Habitable planets hosting intelligent life are unlikely in large elliptical galaxies where most stars and planets reside. Then by default, galaxies such as the Milky Way will be the primary sites of these civilizations as expected by the principle of mediocrity, Whitmire said. That's the end. Back to net. WB5OZL.
Very good, Brenda. Thank you. We are getting near the end here. Tom, do we have any visible satellite passes you want to talk about inside BB?
Oh, Bill, no, nothing really. They're all low passes, so nope. Go to heavensdashabove.com for additional information, and you'll see that I'm right. Back to you, KE5I6.
There were some comments that there were some of the new swarms of low Earth satellites, the ones for communication, that are causing flares and trouble for astronomers, that a swarm of those kind of line was supposed to be visible last night. Did anybody see those? I forget the name of them.
K5, KTX.
Yes, Kelly, straighten me out there.
get to see them last night, but I did see them the night before. These are the Elon Musk SpaceX Starlink satellites. There's I think there's 422 of them now, but there were 19 that flew over the other night. Out of those, I only saw 9 because I was looking in the wrong place, which I typically do. But I did see 9 of the 19. It was very faint, but they were definitely visible. It was kind of a bright moon, so it was kind of cool to see. And if you go to heavens above, you can see them for yourself. K5 KTX.
Okay, Starlink, I forgot the name, yes. So I'm assuming they were only visible at the zenith or toward the west, because if they got toward the east, they would go into the Earth's shadow. Is that correct?
Well, these actually came out of the northwest and went to the southeast, I believe. I guess that's where most of them come out of. I haven't studied it enough to see, but that's where they were the other night.
Okay. Well, I think it's like the ISS, which is you can see it when it's at the zenith or to the west, but if it gets too far to the east of the zenith, they extinguish because they go into the Earth's shadow. Depends, of course, on when they come across relative to the evening, to the sunset. Okay, do we have any last items for the net before we close it? This is N5BB and Skynet.
KC5REI.
T9V, Michael, trying to squeeze in, getting ready for the afterglow without having to acknowledge himself over here on Skynet. But we got you, Michael. You can't hide from us. Okay, so hold on. I'll give you a quick count of how many stations. We had quite a few. Please wait one. This is N5BB. I'll be right back. Wow, my initial count gives me 39 check-ins. That may be a record. That's very good. So, Skynet is a net dedicated discussion about the sky. We meet here every Saturday evening at 9 p.m. Next, Afterglow movie, Morons from Outer Space, is going to be on here in a few minutes. And I think that's it. So I'm going to close the net. If you would like to be a net control, please contact any net control or send a message to nets@w5fc.org. Until next Saturday night, this is N5BB, Bill, and I'm closing the net at 10:34 p.m. and turning it over to KE5ICX to tell us what we're going to do for the afterglow. N5BB clear.
All right, thank you, Bill. We'll be 5 minutes. Morons from Outer Space. Yes, from 1985. You've never heard of it? Neither did we. But we watched it last night, a bunch of us, and you may have too. Come back in 5 minutes. Morons from Outer Space. Be here or be... No. Be there or be square. Never mind.
N5BB from W5GUS. It's a quick question.
W5GUS, N5BB. Always for you, Gus. Go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Bill. and a very nice net too, by the way. That science article you had you read from, how long was that Kepler study? How many years did Kepler study the various stars?
Ooh, it was several years. Let me think about this. I don't think, that the article I read mentioned the exact length, but the paper probably did. So, let me see if I can pull up that paper. I'll see if I can do that before Afterglow starts. Gus, N5BB, be right back.
Well, Bill, you don't need to do that. I can look that up. I was just curious how long the Kepler study was, because some of the other stars might have had, been on a high period in their cycles. If ours has cycles, I would imagine most of them do. So, well, anyway, I was just curious about the length of the Kepler study. I'll look that up, Bill. You probably have other things to do.
Well, I can look it up here once I go to the table of contents here and find the article, because I'm subscribed to that magazine. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Here it is. They got data over a number of years, of Earth years, but I'm not sure the exact length of time. I'll see if I can find it. N5BB.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bill. W5GUS.
And that's exactly the point. One point they were making is it needs to have studies over many years, or you can't get to the you can't get a good answer. So they definitely had data going from 2019 through the middle of 2013. I can see a graph here. Okay, 4 years of data. So they had 4 years of data, and they had 369 solar-like stars. So that's quite a bit of data. 4 years for 369 stars. N5BB.
Wow, sure is. Yeah, that's quite a feat for Kepler. What a great instrument to be able to do that for so long and so well. So thanks, Bill. That was a pretty interesting article that you read there. So thanks for bringing that up and for looking up this information.
You're more than welcome, Gus. I can't remember if I emailed it to you. If I didn't, I will in just a moment. N5BB.
Okay, wonderful. I'd enjoy revisiting that also. Okay, Bill, thank you very much for doing that and looking that up. N5BB, W5GUS, 73, Bill, and talk with you later. Thanks again.
Sure, N5BB clear. See you, Gus. Good night.
Oh, man, that was good timing, because I was getting ready to kick you off the repeater. Not that I could actually kick you off the repeater, but I was going to try somehow. I don't know. Anyway, well, back to my script. Well, aren't you people lucky? Earlier this evening, around 6 p.m., I said to myself, who's doing Afterglow tonight? Not surprisingly, the answer was, it's me. So I asked our glorious leader, who promptly said, not it, which led to a few minutes of research, leading to the inescapable conclusion that it was me. Uh-oh. So when I say, are you people lucky, what I mean by that is that if I hadn't happened to think about this earlier, then y'all would have had to put up with me just winging this stuff. And I don't know that I'm quite ready for such extemporaneous activities here. I'm not as good as Tom. Then again, it might have been funny, or tragic, or tragically funny. Who's to say? Regardless, that little part of my subconscious that usually reminds me about things after it's too late actually came through this time. So I was able to spend a few minutes creating this incredibly entertaining introduction to the Afterglow Movie Net, the very first one for the month of May. Well, now that we've got all that out of the way, I'll just say, this is WT9V, and I'll be your merciless jovial host for the rest of the night, or until I turn off my radio, whichever comes first. As usual, tonight, we'll discuss a movie, more on that later, usually discussing in theory. Sorry, I'm watching Tom laugh. I don't know, either that or he's got gas. I'm not sure. Usually discussing, in theory, the plot, characterization, and special effects. That is, assuming we can even stay reasonably close to the topic and not stray off into other movies, TV shows, vacations, or how stir-crazy we're still being shut in, blah, all the time. This is funny, I got two windows looking at the same stream, and they're not in sync. Nobody knows what time it is. Anyway, Mr. Tom lets us know what movie to watch ahead of time so that we'll have time to make notes and prepare snappy commentary for now, actually, Saturday night. If you're not on the notification list, send an email to our glorious leader, Mr. Tom, and he'll put you on the list. His email is, wait for it, KE5ICX@yahoo.com. Or if you prefer, and you're a bit masochistic, you can go to Afterglow Movie, which is 2 words, on Facebook. Though I've been having a lot of problems finding the list on there lately. Maybe it's just because Facebook doesn't like me, but that's okay. I don't like Facebook either. Either way, you'll get notifications of what the next week's movie is. Although, frankly, many times, the movie that seems to be playing in Tom's head when he writes the descriptions is usually more entertaining than the real movie. Go figure. Tonight, we, and by we, I mean me, are going to plagiarize the New York Times from 1985. Please stand by. Since Morons from Outer Space is not the most promising title imaginable, the good-natured British farce that accompanies it is a nice surprise. This comedy, directed by Mike Hodges and written by 2 co-stars of Not the 9 O'Clock News, challenges the usual assertion that the extraterrestrials who visit us are the cream of the universe. What if a group of ordinary tourists, the interplanetary equivalent of middle-class, middle-brow vacationers in a mobile home, were to wind up here by accident? The movie asks this question, and answers it, and provides some enjoyably offbeat humor along the way. Morons from Outer Space is sometimes overly silly, with the kinds of sight gags and brief pastiches that might make for a middling airplane imitation. In one unforgivable moment, it shows what happens when a spaceman sneezes. Much of it is better than that, however. For instance, the invaders arrive in a space vehicle that displays padded dice over its dashboard and a welcome mat at the door. When the ship lands, and is surrounded by a team of scientists, rather like those in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The door opens to reveal a frowsy young blonde in curlers, baby doll pajamas, and pink mules, bending over as if to pick up the morning paper. Needless to say, this initial meeting is a big surprise for all concerned. Hal Smith and Griff Rhys Jones, who wrote the screenplay, also star in the film. Mr. Jones as a mediocre newscaster who is quick to exploit the aliens' show business potential, and Mr. Smith is an alien who winds up stranded in Arizona. The rest land in England, where they inevitably find themselves on the road to pop stardom. Meanwhile, Mr. Smith wanders through the American wilderness, talking to the garbage cans that he believes must be the most intelligent, sentient beings around. His 3 fellow aliens from a planet called Blob, which appears to have much in I'm ignoring you, Tom, which appears to have much in common with the most benighted sections of earthly suburbia, are played amusingly by Jimmy Dale, Paul Brown, and Joanne Pierce, with Miss Pierce as the member of the group most eager for a singing career and least likely to deserve one on this or any other planet. Dinsdale Landon is also funny as the government official who finds her irresistible. Apparently, we're blaming JJ for this one, only I thought it was fun. I'm sorry Tom slept through it, but I thought it was fun. Well done, JJ. And now, time for check-ins. Please come now with your call sign, name, location, and whether or not you enjoyed this fine film. This is WT90, and I'm all ears.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo. Bill in Irving. I saw it. I didn't really enjoy it.
Oh man, KE5 ICX, Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-ray. Tom, Louisville, I kind of saw it. I fell asleep a couple of times, but I got comments.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. This is Brenda in DeSoto, and I did see it, and I enjoyed it ever so much. Thank you.
November 5, India Mike Sierra, JJ in Carrollton, and yes, I did see it.
Okay, I couldn't get anything out of that. I even turned my radio up. Did anybody understand that? No? Well, okay then. Station calling. Try again after other people check in. I'll come back to you. Anybody else out there? I'm sure there's other people out there.
Kilo India 5, India Sierra India. Saw it. I don't know if enjoy is the right word. Eric and Richardson.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Papa Mike, November, James, Oklahoma, Echo Link. I saw the movie.
Okay. Station that I couldn't understand a while ago. Try again. see if you can increase your power, or if you're on an HT, hold your antenna straight up and make sure that it's not, that it's between you and the repeater.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Hotel Kilo November. Hopefully this is better. I watched the beginning of it, and then my mind melted, and I was not able to finish it. This is Kevin.
Okay, that was really good, but for some reason I was listening for the really faint station, and all I got was Kilo Foxtrot 5, so pardon me, but what was the rest of your call again? And I think you said Evan?
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Hotel Kilo November, Kevin.
Okay, Kevin. KF5, HKN, and you saw it until your mind melted. Tom got another camera. Yes, good, Tom. Sit in the corner. Here's a treat. Anybody else out there that would like to check in? I mean, how do we go from like almost 40 people to nobody? And where's Kane?
Kilo 5, Alpha November Echo. I think I doubled with somebody. This is Kane and Richardson, and yes, I saw the movie.
There you are. Okay, who'd you double with? I'll tell you what. I'll read back who I've heard so far, and anybody that I don't mention is you. N5BB, KE5ICX, WB5OZL, N5IMS, KI5ISI, KG5PMN, KF5HKN, and K5ANE. Who's out there that I didn't get? No, that's strange. All right, well, let me randomize the list, and I'll start calling on people in 1 second. Okay, looks like... Oh, this is interesting. Somehow Tom ended up on number 2 slots both ways. Sorry, Tom. K5ANE. You're number 1. Your turn.
So, I guess we're going to start off talking about the plot. I have to say, if you don't like slapstick comedy movies, this is definitely not the movie for you, which is kind of obvious given the title. The plot itself didn't seem like there were lots of unanswered questions overall, except for the whole, like, well, what exactly is, their planet and all the others, if you just accept, okay, there's space tourists from some other planet, whatever. Other than that, I felt they did a good job balancing, like, just these slapstick kind of comedy jokes with moving the plot along. I know a lot of the times these movies kind of get caught up making all these little mini jokes all the time that they almost forget, oh yeah, that's right, we're trying to tell some kind of story here. But overall, I felt this movie had a decent bit of balance in that, all these jokes that they, slapstick kind of jokes, they were throwing in pretty smoothly as the plot continued on. So, hats off to that. It was definitely a really dumb movie, but as far as dumb movies go, it wasn't too bad. 1 second. I was a little disappointed early on when they mentioned anybody up for some Spaceball, and for a second there I thought they were going to I thought this was tied into the Spaceballs universe in some way, shape, or form, but sadly no. That was probably my biggest disappointment in the movie, aside from just the overall movie. That's about it for me for the plot. This is K5 A&E, back to net control.
Well, you know, I had the same thought, and I gotta think that they just decided to have somebody out there kicking a soccer ball around, or a football, as they say over there, just so they could say, Spaceballs! I don't know, maybe not. KE5ICX! I tried to get you somewhere besides the second spot, but sorry, that's the way things sorted out, Tom. What does KE5ICX have to say about the plot from WT9B?
I thought I was number one, Inside BB.
No, you're actually number 6.
May I continue?
Yes, just pay no attention to that person that interrupted you, Tom. Go ahead.
Why, thank you. Okay, here's the thing about this plot. First off, I fell asleep in the movie not once but twice. Well, I wasn't in the movie, but I fell asleep watching a movie. However, the premise of the thing I kind of liked. This is something I've always asked myself. What would happen if we were visited by aliens? Because it happens all the time in movies. We know that. Every other day we're being either invaded or visited by aliens. But in this case, this is an alien or aliens that are complete idiots, doofuses. Could the universe be filled with people with extraterrestrial capabilities or beings and be stupid? This has been proven time after time on Star Trek. All aliens on Star Trek are stupid. They're dumber than the captain of the Enterprise, which is typically what it is, although they had Voyager and that Defiant thing. So, what would happen if you had somebody who was dumb? In this case, 4 people dumb. I thought that was kind of brilliant when you think about it. Everybody on Earth is expecting you can do extraterrestrial travel. Why not? You're smart. You gotta be. But instead, they're in an RV and they just have everything at their fingertips. And then I realized, before it happened, it took a lot to get on the interwebs, on the internet. You know, you had to have a computer, you had to have a modem, you had to figure out how to do it, you had the expensive computer, you had to hook it all together, and you had to make it work. And then you spoke to other people that did the same thing. And then at the same time, you're speaking with each other. And then all of a sudden, it became available to everybody. And then dumb people got on. And we realized, there's dumb people here. And we're surrounded by dumb people. We got to find something else. So we went to amateur radio. And I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll have to find out. I think we already know. But in any case, that was an interesting idea. I like that. They showed the military being, especially in America, as being overly belligerent, which is kind of something that actually is overstated, but it's kind of universally accepted as a kind of a thing, much like Texans all wear cowboy hats. So those things played into it. I can't talk about characters yet, but as I say, the idea was pretty good. There were a few funny points in it. I think the humor was a little bit forced. I know they were trying to do a parallelism with Monty Python. I'm not sure that happened because I fell asleep twice through the whole thing. So I'm a little thin on plot tonight, but I think that is parallelisms with what's happened in our world since 1985 and that terrible invasion that happened. The eugenics war was pretty bad too, 1992. Back to you, Net Control. This is KE5ICX.
Oh, thank you, KE5ICX. That's very lovely. Most appreciated. And there went my first comment that I had for later, because it was going to be, and I quote, "Well, Tom, just the title of this flick goes a long way towards addressing your usual complaint about morons in space. I mean, we're surrounded by them down here. Why shouldn't they be pervasive in space, too? And as far as the internet, back in the old days, it was the freshman month or two, whenever freshmen got into college, and the internet was stupid for a while, and then, you know, they learned how not to be idiots, and things got better. And then there was CompuServe. And then there was AOL. And the internet has been full of poo ever since. Next on my resorted list, KF5 HKN. Kevin, you said you saw it. Tell us about the plot and your thoughts therein, sir, from WT90.
KF5 HKN. I can't speak to the whole plot because I didn't finish it, but perhaps I'll revisit it later on. I found it on YouTube. I'm not sure where everyone else found it, and it wasn't the best quality, and it was rather small on the screen. But I would also agree that I was thinking it was along the Spaceballs line in the beginning because my mind wasn't working, and at first it said Mel Smith, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe that was the director of Spaceballs, and then I remembered, no, that's Mel Brooks. But the opening scene with the spaceship flying by was similar to the Spaceballs opening scene, and then it had a travel trailer that was behind it, so my mind went to the Winnebago in Spaceballs, and then also when I heard them say Spaceballs, when they were talking about the ball in space that he was playing with. But nothing really connected with Spaceballs throughout the rest of the movie. I did watch until they were beginning the interrogations and things like that, and it was kind of humorous from time to time, but I just wasn't able to finish it. But I'll give it another go later on. Thank you, KF5HKN.
Thank you very much. I think that there were a lot of little references here and there. I mean, I saw a lot of them. Some of them you wouldn't pick up unless you were a fan of British television. And, you know, they were just little allusions, like just not a real good reference, you know, but like you were saying, the things that kind of hinted at Spaceballs, but they didn't want to get sued for, I guess. I don't know. KG5, PMN, James in Oklahoma, I believe you said. What's going on? What's on your mind? What do you have to say about the plot of Morons from Outer Space? Why is it always outer space? Why? It's space. Just, never mind. Okay, I'm good. WT90, KG5 PMN from WT90.
Kilo Go 5, Papa Mike November, James up here just outside of Walter, Oklahoma. I kind of enjoyed the movie. Of course, I kind of enjoyed British comedy. I kind of got several of them I'd like to watch. This movie kind of reminded me of the Three Stooges starting out in space. Larry, Curly, and Moe up there, and Larry and Curly get to messing around in the spaceship while Moe's out playing with the ball, with the soccer ball, and they blast off and leave Moe stranded. Which, at some point in time, he gets either a hold of Star Wars or Star Trek and manages to get a ride down to Earth with him. And crashes in Arizona, gets locked up into a psychiatric ward and manages to escape. In the meantime, Larry, Curly, and Moe and Larry, Curly, and the girl crash in England and get caught and interrogated by Monty Python crew and managed to get locked up over in England until Revenge of the Nerd helps them to escape, and he manages to convince authorities to help them go on a world tour, and everybody winds up in New York along with Moe, and he hitchhikes across the country to New York, and the three almost become rivals. Moe's kind of on the outside, and Close encounters of the third kind swoops in, takes the three up, and the nerd helps start picking up the last one and getting off toward the end. Back to the net, KG5PM in.
Well, alrighty then. And now, our next lucky contestant is KI5ISI, Eric, who put up a new antenna just so he could get into the nets tonight. Go you. What do you think about the plot from WT9Z?
Well, there is one. It's simple. I mean, I think it's a really, I'd almost like to, I like the idea so much that I'd almost like to see a serious take on it, like an average, family, like if all of us on Earth had, capabilities to zoom interstellarly, one of us idiots are going to find our way where we don't belong, I mean, one can only imagine who would end up lost out there, right? So, I don't know, I like the idea more than I like the whole plot and rock and roll thing. But yeah, first time actually on the net. I've listened to it like maybe once or twice, but thanks for having me.
Just a friendly reminder, whenever you're done, say your call sign so I know you're done. I'm not going to get cranky about it like some people I know. And now that brings us down to contestant number 6 in 5BB. Mr. Bill, what do you have to say about the plot of this fine movie from WT9Z?
Oh my, this is in 5BB. I am a person. I am not a number. And I'm a prisoner. Somebody's holding me here inside my house. Obscure reference. Okay, regarding one of the last comments that was made there, Mel Brooks was starting on the movie, a movie that was originally titled Planet Moron. That's right, Planet Moron. And then in 1985, they heard about this British science fiction movie coming out. In Spaceball, they had to rename it to Spaceballs. And supposedly Mel Brooks thought of something to add to space and came up with balls. And it's not clear that they realized that Spaceballs was actually in the British movie. So the order of it was, the British movie was made, and then later Spaceballs came out. So that's the order, 2 years later, which I think is kind of interesting. Let's see. Yes, the comment was, in the movie that we saw, Spaceballs must not be kicked out of the recreation area. Speaking of which, did you notice that in space, gravity was sometimes effective inside a certain room, inside the RV, but in other parts, it was only slightly effective. So when he walked down the chain, he slowly kept coming down to the chain like there was a slight amount of gravity, which of course there wouldn't have been unless they were accelerating, but they would have been accelerating in the wrong direction. So that was just goofy. There's other things in the movie in space where there was some gravity where there shouldn't have been any, so there were various things there that they didn't care about being true to life at all. In other words, he threw up inside his helmet, but you don't see him cleaning it up. He just miraculously later, his helmet doesn't have anything inside of it. Let's see, things about it. it was... So British humor is one of these things that can be very, very careful and well done, and it can be controlled and well written. I would say Faulty Towers is one of these things, which is to the extreme as far as physical comedy and other things, but it's written so well that it's not stupid. It's well done. There's other things like Benny Hill that I would classify as just kind of stupid. And there are some other British comedies from the 70s, 60s, 70s to the 80s, which are very stupid and are over the top. So this one is pretty over the top. Some things about it. They're still back in the middle 80s, so they smoke cigars and they wear hats. There were lots of references to other movies they threw in. Did you notice the Close Encounters of the Third Kind reference with the lights and the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba kind of tones that went apart? That was a big deal, a part of the movie. Obvious reference there. Then at another point, they had the also Spock, Zarathustra. That was the movie from 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, all that stuff. They played a little bit of that, or something that sounded like it, at a part of this movie. So they were trying to reference that one. So they threw in a lot of little thinly veiled references to other science fiction movies. At one point, I think I saw a reference to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, when they were when he was in the kind of the sane asylum, the mental hospital on Earth, or what appeared to be a mental hospital, and there's kind of some references to that. Why are these morons from outer space exactly like British, not just humans, but British humans? They know how to speak like British humans, etc., etc. Makes no sense. When they sing, the songs kind of sound like they could have been written on the Earth. It makes no sense. But they didn't care if it made any sense. That's the whole point. I don't know. The last 20 minutes of the movie, I got bored and stopped watching it because I didn't see anything interesting at all. I would definitely not watch it again. I like Spaceballs better. This is Inside BB.
Alrighty then. Well, for a potentially contrasting viewpoint, we now go to DIN 5 IMS, the person who's responsible for all of this. DIN 5 IMS, this is 1790. It's all over to you now.
Well, first off, I'm not responsible. I'm never responsible for my actions. After all, I'm a moron from outer space. Or at least I'm pretending to be, to try and get out of this, but whatever. Well, one of the, two of the reasons why it was recommended. First off is I do have a copy in my 200 some odd movie set of DVDs. And, the name, of course, makes it so that you, are drawn to it. I mean, just the title, Morons from Outer Space, it's got to at least have some humor in there if it's done right. I'm not saying it's done right, but, but still. And second, growing up in the bathroom that my wife grew up in, they had a picture of a spaceship with a chain going across, hauling a outhouse. And of course, what did you have in this? You had the spaceship, you had the chain, and you had the RV. Now, it was apparently the RV is where they stored spare parts, but still. So, there was some personal thing in there. So, I kind of am attached to it. That thing. Let me reset. Now, we're supposed to be talking about the plot. First off, it actually did have one. Not saying it was a good one, not saying it was a bad one, but it had one. And, one of the things that I say on movies like this is the type of movie that you turn your brain off and laugh, because it is not designed to make sense. Like Gravity, working sometimes, doesn't working other times, and what have you, it just isn't there. But, it's kind of a fun movie to watch if you ignore all the other stuff and just sit there and, listen to the side jokes, listen to the jokes when they refer to other movies and stuff and things like that. And, I enjoyed that. And I actually was surprised by a few things. I mean, a lot of the stuff was, fairly well telegraphed about what's going to happen. But, when the guy started singing, Sandra, of course, you can't sing much because, A, I can't sing, and B, this ham radio, and you're not supposed to sing. But, the point I mean, when he started singing that about his, love for Sandra, that surprised me. I wasn't expecting a song to show up there. So, it was good and enjoyable. But, I'm not saying this is a movie that I would want to watch half a dozen times and get to know every little intricacy of it. But, I did enjoy it. I mean, the explanation that the moron had about, flying the plane. He basically said, like driving a car, you push this pedal, it goes. You push this pedal, it stops. You rotate this round thing, it steers. How hard can it be? Just like driving a car. So, it was basically just a twist on, if you're in space, you must be a genius and, do rocket science and all. No, any moron can drive it. It's automated and stuff. But, so, that's kind of my take on it at this point, loosely, and I'll send it back to you, and, waiting to see just how much Michael absorbs. This is N5 IMS. Back to net.
How much who does what? You're certainly not looking to me for any kind of insightful comments, because you're looking in the wrong place in that case. WB502ZL. Miss Brenda, your turn. What do you think about the plot? Or apparently other movies or things? Anyway, Miss Brenda, WB50ZL from WT9V.
Thank you. This is WB50ZL. Well, were they really morons? I mean, weren't they like a lot of people on Earth? If we sent a lot of our movies out there to some other planet, would they name it morons from Earth? They weren't more stupid than the average person in this country, I think. In fact, that would probably be a good cultural exchange. We'll send them a copy of Idiocracy. So, I thought the plot was pretty easy to understand. It's very direct, and I like that. It meant I could understand it, and other people on Earth could understand it. So, that was good. It wasn't like Primer or something, where you don't know what's going on. But in this one, you did. You knew exactly what was happening, and I like that. The trailer RV they were in was perfect. Every detail. And I know this isn't plot, but I just want to say it because I was so impressed with all the pink stuff. And the girl got to do a lot of pink stuff. A lot of movies, the girls got some dumb jumpsuit on, and this one got classy things, classy fashion. There was a lot of hat tip to British comedy, and I like that. I wish I knew more about British comedy. There's probably a lot of obscure references in there that I did not get, but I did get some. Let's see, what else? I'll have more later. Back to that. WB5OZL.
Well, alrighty then. And I think now it's time to see if there's anybody else out there that would like to step up to the plate. Any other check-ins? Please come now. Call sign, name. Whether you saw this. Morons from outer space. Yep, not hearing anything, so I'm going to go on. And by go on, I mean I'll make some comments. And by comments, actually, I'm just going to repeat some of the lines that I thought were amusing. For Lost in Space. I think that might have been a reference. I don't think I've seen that many cars wrecked since I watched the Blues Brothers. I just love the dining hall scene. From another planet, freeze. Oh, but he moved. Not a nothing. Like a freeze frame. For a moment, I thought they were going to have a remake of the airplane scene with the people lining up to slap some sense into the hysterical woman. But this scene was a lot better. I liked it. The blinky organ was just perfect. Oh, I really love the line, I had the mirror taken out yesterday. I wish I could do the accent. Let's see. I kept laughing about the exploits of the poor hapless reporter until he took over, and then it wasn't quite as interesting. I don't know. Once he kidnapped them and started making them into pop stars, the movie just kind of went, nah, for me. Oh, let's see. How am I supposed to escape if you keep running away? And as JJ mentioned, suddenly, it's a musical. And that happened more than once. I don't know if anybody else caught the French onion seller disguise, but that was lovely. And then, you know, if you didn't, ask me and I'll tell you what series it came from. And once, my final comment was, Bernard, the smart one, has so much trouble hitching a ride. Poor guy. Alright, back to the top of the list. And since I'm not going to sort the list in a different way in the middle of this net, I'll make that K5A&E. What do you think about characterization? And yes, you got it last time. Plot was the first point. Good for you, Mr. Gonna Be in CS next week. What do you have to say about characterization from WT9V?
I gotta say, overall, I didn't really care for any of these characters. Just all of them. I mean, it's a dumb movie, and they're all dumb characters. But I don't know. They just didn't really do much for me. Not very interesting. Not very exciting. You know, they played their part of being dumb people the whole time. But I don't know. The one guy that got left behind, I guess, is the only character that, you know, I kind of feel a little bit of empathy throughout the movie for his position and things like that. And, but ultimately, you know, you are your friends in a way, so even though he's the smartest guy of the group, you know, you're hanging around with a lot of dumb people, well, you're going to have some dumb times, I guess. That's about all I have to say about the characters. This is K5A&E, back to net control.
Wow. If the rest of y'all go through characterization, and frankly, I don't give this much, we might actually wrap this up by midnight, even though Mr. Bill did drag things on 10 minutes into my time. Not that I'm holding a grudge. K5ICX, Tom, what do you think about characterization from WT9B?
Oh, Michael, I'm desperately trying to find inspiration from the characters here. And I have nothing. I have nothing, man. The one thing that I thought was really interesting and I enjoyed was the sort of the semi-musical thing that they popped into several times. I do remember, yes, I do remember you talking about and I seeing the Cuckoo's Nest thing with the Indian and trying to escape, which was kind of fun. So the satirizations of characters, I'm trying to pull something in because I can't remember anything about this movie. And the fact that they could, satirize it in kind of a fun and authentic way was rather interesting. Let's see, what else can I say about this Connect movie? And it wasn't even made in Canada. Characterizations were somewhat simplistic, but that was the idea, I guess. Hold on, let me think for a sec. Let's see, Jones is the newscaster, who is very mediocre, by the way, and the show business part of it. This actually came out before we had 24/7 news cycles and all of that. So I thought that was kind of interesting because that pretty much brings it to the fore before all of this happened in real life with the internet and everything else. Probably another thing too is, and they bring this up with the showbiz part, which is the characters, are exploited and then turned into, at least 3 of them are turned into these half-wits, into full-wits, into full exciting characters for public consumption type of thing. We know that's not the case, but then this was kind of the portent of things to come, like the Kardashians, I guess, which thankfully I've never seen a single episode of any of that stuff, not even channel surfing, thankfully. But apparently there's something really going on there that people care about. And this is true with other characters, too. You got the Dr. Oz and those folks that have suddenly become, daily things. Maybe not so suddenly. I guess he's been around for at least 10 years. But, it's credible that the inaneness of the characters and their popularity does play into it. Reminds me of a movie called, what's the name of that movie? Being There, which was the same, similar in that a complete idiot is completely immortalized and followed in an incredible way. So I don't know. That's all I got on it. Again, I fell asleep twice in this movie. Back to you, KE5ICX.
And I appreciate you for staying awake during my net. You'll never know just how much. KF5HKN, Kevin. By the way, there's a better link to the movie that Tom sent out sometime during the week. It's on Facebook. and he also sent it out in email. So if you need, I can send you a copy of that link, but it's on YouTube also. But it's a good copy, you know, full widescreen, looks good. Anyway, your thoughts on, and Kevin, so I'm still talking to Kevin, your thoughts on characterization or whatever from WT9V.
KF5HKN. Well, Facebook, something I haven't used in 5 or 6 years. So hopefully I can get a copy somewhere else. Maybe I'll contact you a little later. As for the characters, I don't really remember much about them other than perhaps in the interrogation when they're asking about the math problem, or they had good moronic faces, so I guess that worked in their favor. It also, when one of the characters was down on Earth and he was, I don't remember, covered in trash or something, and there were squirrels or something at his feet, it really reminded me of Bill Murray in Caddyshack. So, if anything, I can say that this movie has made me more interested in watching Spaceballs and Caddyshack once again. So, KF5HKN.
I just looked on QRZ and I don't see an email address, so you'll have to send me an email address, and I'll send you the YouTube link. It's wt9v.tx@gmail.com. So mycallsign.tx@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link on YouTube. Good. The first 3/4 of it I enjoyed. I thought there were a lot of little sight gags, little references, a lot of things, and then they, kind of, I don't know, they turned them into pop stars, and it's like, meh, kind of losing interest at this point. Anyway. KG5, PMN, James. Thoughts on characterization or other? We'll come around to science, special effects in a few minutes. Probably not that many at the rate we're going. From WT9V.
It's Kilo Delphi, Papa Mike November, James. I didn't really get much out of the characters. They all, each one of them had their own little, I guess, goofy parts to play, and they kind of just played them as they were. And just was wondering if James Setking was supposed to be an American attraction maybe for this movie. Since he was currently Hill Street Blues also at that time, I believe. I believe Hill Street Blues ran from 81 to 87 or something like that. And, other than that, I just didn't get much out of the characters. A little reporter guy was always the one that got kicked to the side every time he was with the newsroom. They kind of made him the tough guy and the little man, and him and put him in charge of the newsroom, and then he wound up going to bigger stuff or helping them escape and getting them into the pop stars, and I don't know how far they thought he was going to go, but well, I guess that's it. KG5PM in.
Alrighty then, and that brings us out around to KI5ISI. Eric, what do you think about your thoughts? What do you think about your thoughts? Yeah, I'm really doing great. Maybe I'm asleep like Tom is. Thoughts on characterization from WT9V.
KI5ISI, we do not have enough time to talk about what I think about my thoughts. Characterization, though, I don't know, like, movies either get it right or they don't, like, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a stupid movie, right? And maybe it's the Gen Xer in me, but, I mean, Bill and Ted are fun characters, right? Bernard, news guy, I mean, and they I don't know. Maybe it was because I was kind of hoping to see like the British version of Spaceballs, and maybe I just got that, and it's a drier version. I don't know. But like compare it to like Spaceballs and the John Candy's character Barf. Like he's an idiot, and they're all idiots, and you love them though, and you want to watch it. I'm half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. It's funny. I didn't have as many or really any of those moments in this one, so kind of character-wise, meh. KI5ISI, back to net.
Well, in all fairness, as Bill pointed out in round one, Spaceballs came out 2 years after this did. So, can understand how it probably, whatever. Anyway, speaking of Bill and 5BB, it is now your turn. And I won't reference any numbers this time. WT9B, except that number.
This is in 5BB. I am number 6, but I'm not a number. Well, if you want to see something that is an even more way over the top, extreme alternative British comedy, go look at YouTube for The Young Ones. No, this is the song. This is the TV episodes, The Young Ones. And Griff Rhys-Jones, that was the TV reporter in this movie we supposedly saw, the moron movie. He was in one of the episodes of The Young Ones. But The Young Ones is just completely over the top. When something happens, they literally, stick something through a wall or break down a door or something. It's completely over the top. It's about some university students that are incredibly poor, living together. Anyway, characterization. Not much to say. I relinquish the remainder of my time to WT9Z. This is in 5BB.
All I have to say about your number 6 comments is you are number 1. Go, N5IMS, JJ. Your turn. Oh, Tom looks so... I think he's falling asleep. He's leaning his head on his... Never mind. JJ, take us away from this. WT90.
Well, let's see. I thought the characters, basically did a decent job with what they had. They were supposed to be morons. Well, they were morons. The military was supposed to be, the view at that time. The military was basically just a bunch of morons that were in charge of stuff, and that's kind of the way they were portrayed. The stereotypical thing in movies of the military. And I'm not talking the Top Gun stuff where it's pro. I'm, talking the comedic versions where it's more anti-military. So, they played their part. And, I did enjoy the, spaceship landing on the M1 and basically getting anything and having the cars flipped over and doing things. I thought that was good. I think, that was basically making the spaceship into a character, which is probably more believable than several of the other characters. Now, I did kind of have somewhat of sympathy for Bernard, who was supposed to be the intelligent one of the crew that got left behind in the spaceship and then, got kicked out of the
ship that picked him up to rescue him, which caused him to land on Earth. And then later on, they kind of referenced what happened in the spaceship when the guy in the old truck picked him up, and basically he took care of that thing by letting him know, yes, I'm a man. It's okay. I'm that. And then he said, you're from outer space, and then he slammed on the brakes and kicked him out. So same thing happened to him, just different reason. And similar, he finally got caught up and got reconnected with them, and they threw him out because they were stars at that point, and he was a nobody, and they wanted him to stay that way. But then at the very end, you could see a way for them to have a sequel if things got where they could have a sequel, because the reporter who took over their career kind of put his arm around Bernard and said, come on, I can, I made them a star, I can make you a star, so, your life will be better, and stuff like that. I think I slipped off, but that's kind of my take on it. They did what they could. They weren't great, but it wasn't bad. But like I said before, it's a turn your mind off and just enjoy the little subtle and comments back and forth. So this is N5 IMS, back to net.
Thank you, JJ. And that brings us around once again to WB50ZL, who will no doubt tell us more thoughts because she said she had more. Take it away, Brenda, from WT9V.
Thank you. This is WB50ZL. Well, it would be real easy for these characters to be one-dimensional, formulaic. I thought, given the story, that they did a fairly good job of making them a little more interesting than they could have been. I just wonder how many of us identify with Bernard, that think about every place you've worked. You're the smart one. You're surrounded by idiots. It's just such a metaphor for life. A lot of the extra characters were also really pretty wacky. I thought they did a pretty good job of fleshing out some of these characters and making them more interesting than they had any reason to be. That's just my opinion. All right, back to that. This is WB50ZL.
Thank you, Miss Brenda. And I honestly think it's time for me to ask, just in case there's anybody else that would like to check in. Please come now. Name, call sign. Whether you saw this, whether you want to make any comments from WT9V.
KI5GRH, Melissa in Dallas. I didn't see it, but I love listening to all of you. KI5GRH, back to the net.
But do you want to make any comments about our comments?
Well, usually I just let you put me to sleep, but I was pretty awake tonight, so I've been I just enjoy all your stuff, your analysis, your deep, thoughtful analysis. It's really way beyond my abilities, so there you go. KI5GRH, back to you.
Since I don't have any cameras watching me at the moment, you can't see me looking around going, who's she talking to? I don't have any thoughtful analysis about this. Some of the other people do. I will grant you that. And as far as characterization, I really don't have anything. I empathized with Bernard, who seemed to be the only one that had a brain, but no charisma whatsoever, which is why nobody liked him, and he kept getting kicked out of every place that he tried to hitch a ride to, and talk to trash cans and things like that. And, they described him as the guy with the body odor problem. Well, nobody liked him because he was the one that wasn't dumb. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, don't really have anything else. So, given the fact that Tom looks like he's gonna fall asleep, and I'll just throw it open. Anybody that has any more comments about anything, instead of going through the whole, round for special effects and whatever else, anybody that has any comments about anything else about this movie, please come now.
K5 A&E.
And 5 IMS.
KI5 ISI.
Okay, well, that was actually more than I thought I was going to get. K5 A&E, what do you have to talk about anything special effects? I mean, preferably about this movie, but at this point, whatever. Anything you got on your mind?
One thing that I really liked about this movie, and there really wasn't that much that I liked, but one thing I did like was the lens choice and the overall cinematic feel of it. They used a really wide-angle lens and a lot of close-ups, and that's something that you don't really see in a lot of American films, especially. A lot of times American films are shot with like a telephoto lens, which kind of gives a flat appearance to things, but with that kind of more wide-angle shot, it kind of gives a different feel as to how you're looking out into the world. And I just thought it was really interesting and different compared to the things that we normally see. And just thought I'd throw that out there and mention it. This is K5 A&E, back to net control.
Thank you, Kane. JJ in 5 IMS, what do you have on your mind, sir?
Well, one thing I had on this that was a disappointment is when I saw that the director was Mike Hodges. It made my mind think of Mystery Science Theater 3000, who was, initially done with Joel Hodges. So I had that confusion. And what furthered that was once Joel stopped hosting the show, the host was named Mike. So my mind made that Mike Hodges was the MST3K people. Now, it was kind of a disappointment that they weren't doing the show. Now, it would be nice to see this show being done with a MST3K makeover on it. That might, give us a little bit of enjoyment. But just wanted to pass that along. This is N5 IMS, back to net.
I think this would be really good with MST3K, because, then they could make comments about all of the little hidden references, the little allusions, and all the little things that I caught some of them. I didn't catch all of them. I'm sure I didn't catch all of them. In fact, the reason that I thought about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was that the Indian chief guy. It was Nurse Ratched. KI-5 ISI, thoughts that you have at this point about special effects or whatever, WT-90.
KI-5 ISI, I just wanted to both blame and thank K5 A&E for forcing me to watch this. And KI-5 ISI, back to net.
That's okay. Somebody has to take the blame, and he's good at it. He's you know, yeah. I'm with you on that. So, anybody else with any thoughts at the moment? Any final thoughts? Anything that stirred your mind? Nope. Okay, well, in that case, I'll just mention a couple of things. That Bill was talking about the variable gravity, and inside the ship, there was when the door closed and the guy fell on the ceiling, there was a sign that says you're now entering a normal gravity area. So that explains that, I guess. I did notice that at the very beginning, when he was walking across the chain was sagging, just like it would in gravity. It wasn't loose, it wasn't pulled taut, it was sagging. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I can't really expect hard science fiction and really sticking to the facts when you're dealing with morons from outer space. And I think the whole idea is just kind of like a family on holiday who can't explain how anything that they have works. It's like so many people that can't explain how a microwave oven works. You put stuff in, you hit the button, it gets hot. Yeah, it's really simple. You know, or so many people most people these days with the cars that are so computerized. Anyway, I think that's about it. And so that brings us around to next week's movie. And I'm saying that really slow because I'm trying to remember what it is. Oh yeah, it's The Cosmic Man from 1959. And Tom will send out a brilliantly analyzed version of what's playing in his head, which may or may not have anything at all to do with the actual movie. So, once again, and we'll go over this because I still got 5 minutes to fill, which I'm not going to, so don't worry about it too much. If you are listening to the net and you don't already get the emails from Tom, send him a note at K5ICX@yahoo.com. I don't know why he hasn't gotten a Gmail account like the rest of us, but he hasn't. He's still on Yahoo. But it works, mostly. Sometimes it doesn't. Like, he had to change my email address because my email kept rejecting his email because... Anyway, it's a long story and you don't care. So... next week's movie, The Cosmic Man, 1959, which might be good, might be terrible. Tom will let us know. At this point, I think we're done. Does anybody out there have any objections to us being done? Please come now.
75 IMS with one question.
7.
My question is, what did Brenda do to bribe Tom to have this not on her shift? She normally gets the great movies like this, and she missed it this time, so it makes me wonder just what was going on. Did she make him some banana pudding or something? I don't know. It just Curious minds want to know. The 75 IMS.
Personally, I'm leaning toward blackmail.
This is WB50ZL.
What do you want me to do, call on you? I already shut down the net.
No, I'll just talk. This is totally on the up and up. There is no conspiracy here. There's nothing to conjecture. It's completely innocent. I did want to comment, I forgot earlier, Bill was trying to forward his extra time to you, Michael. I'm not going to do that. I'm willing to sell my extra minutes to the highest bidder. WB50ZL.
You're going to have to check with the boss before you can do that, because I think he's probably, at the very least going to want about 110% commission rate.
This is N5BB. I would buy them back if I could ensure that we could stop talking about this movie early. However, the market's all calmed down, so I'll have to buy them back with oil futures or something else real cheap. N5BB.
Bill, I don't mean to be critical, but you're not paying much attention tonight. One, I mentioned at the beginning that I was sorting the list before I started calling on people, and you missed that. And then two, we've already stopped talking about this movie early, and you apparently missed that too.
But Brenda wanted to sell her time. I was just mentioning I would have bought it just to stop talking about the movie. That's what I meant. Anyway, be that as it may, the Cosmic Man, I vaguely believe I've seen that sometime in some previous decade. See you guys later. Stay well, wash your hands, and try not to touch your face when you're out, and wear your masks. If we could find a science fiction movie that was as truly weird as what we're in right now, it would be fun to watch, but those movies don't exist. N5BB clear.
I don't know. I think we've seen an awful lot of weird movies on this net. Maybe not this. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's been weirder movies. Maybe we should watch Shaun of the Dead. Go to sleep, Tom. W29V.
Thank you, Michael, for doing that. Yeah, I'm tired. I didn't take my nap today, so I'm kind of really tired. Sorry.
I'm surprised you're still awake, actually.
Are you sure I am? Because I'm not. Dabney Coleman? Oh my goodness, I missed him. It showed Dabney Coleman third rank down on the credits for The Invaders from 1967. How about that?
Well, I don't know if you're awake or not, because I wouldn't put it past you to be sleep talking and be quasi-coherent. But your eyes have been open for the whole net, except when you were reading that thing about the satellite passes or something. No, launches. That was it. Launches. You were reading that, but you had your eyes closed, which I thought was a little unusual. Like, how much does he have written on the back of his eyelids?
Oh, sometimes. Oh, it's time for the Ghost Planet. I think this is second season when the Jupiter 2 is back in space. Oh no, it's the Mechanical Planet? I don't know. It's actually pretty good. I'm going to go watch it now. Goodbye, KE5ICX.
Goodbye, Tom. WT9V. And goodbye, everybody else. Thanks for being here. Have a good weekend. WT9V.
That was a fun net. Thanks to everybody. WP50ZL.